Hey guys, it's Mom to Wife 1. It is Vlogmas Day 12. And let me just start off by saying I am incredibly grateful for my marriage and for my husband. I have several close friends who have either gotten divorced or are going through a divorce, and in none of their situations has it been amicable, has it been peaceful, has there been any sense of maturity on the part of the men. Like my girls, obviously I'm a ride or die for my girls, so they're straight, but it's just things I don't understand. So let's unpack some things, right? I don't understand the point of being nasty and sneaky and vindictive when it comes to going through divorce. There's just, and even not when it comes to going through divorce, in general being that way, it's just so much effort, right? If you don't want to be married to me, and I've decided I also don't want to be married to you, then let's sign some papers and let's get this thing cracking. Like, I don't understand why so many other things have to be a factor, why so many other things have to happen. Like, obviously legally, so I'm not even talking about legal stuff. I'm just talking about, like, in both instances with my closest friends, they are mothers, right? Despite how you feel about me and I feel about you, at the end of the day, I'm still going to show you respect as my child's father, which means I'm expecting for you to still show me respect as your child's mother. For some reason, that doesn't always happen. And it's like, I don't understand why. You don't want to be married to me, and that's fine because you thought I was this horrible wife for whatever reason. You're entitled to your opinion, whatever. But you can't say that I'm a horrible mother. And matter of fact, you're not saying I'm a horrible mother. So why are you not at least showing me that respect that I'm due because I'm the mother of your child? That has nothing to do with how you feel like I treated you wrong or I was disrespectful to you or whatever the case may be. I don't understand why, at least in these cases that I'm thinking about, why it's so difficult for the men to put their own ego and their own issues aside and focus on the child, focus on co-parenting with this person. Because again, even if you think this person wasn't the best wife ever, you're not saying in any of your arguments, you're not saying this is this horrible woman. You're not saying she is the reincarnation of Medusa or Jezebel. You're not saying that. Because at the end of the day, sometimes some people just don't need to be married to each other. And I think that's a fair assessment. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that. That's fine. And if we both have agreed that I'm just not the right wife for you, you're just not the right husband for me, that's fine. We agree with that. Maybe we shouldn't have gotten married, but we did. We're here now. Okay. Let's figure out how to not be married anymore, but still remain cordial enough to co-parent this child. You can even be friends at some point at the end of the day if you want that. I just don't understand why that's not possible. I don't get it. And fortunately, both of my friends, well, fortunately, the friends that I have that are going through this are smart. They are spiritual, love God, they have common sense. Obviously, this has been a very trying and exhausting experience, and I can't imagine going through it. And all I can do, obviously, is be that person that's, there for them, answer the phone when they call, pray with them if I need to pray with them, pray for them. The hardest thing for me to do, because I'm a Christian, y'all hear me talk about praying all the time. The hardest thing for me in all this time has been praying for the husbands or soon to be ex-husbands. That has been difficult. And you may say, well, that ain't your problem. Da, da, da. Technically, it's not. But as a Christian, I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to love everybody. And I'm supposed to pray for people. And it has been difficult. But the times that I'm led to pray, I think about how, again, with these women, they may not have been the best wives, but they're still not terrible women. And for these men, I have to kind of separate what they've done, separate them as the husband, them as the father, and focus on them as the man. Them as the man is broken for whatever reason. It could be something from their past. Most of the time, it's like something from their childhood, because we all have stuff from our childhood that has scarred us and we have never dealt with. So it's something from the childhood. It's something that they've never gone to therapy for. It's something they're in denial about. And whatever it is, it's hurting them to the point where they're lashing out at other people. But they're not only hurting themselves, they are also, because they're not dealing with that issue, They have not put themselves in a position to be the best husband they could possibly be for that next woman. And they're also not putting themselves in a position to be the best father that they can be for their children, or even the best co-parent they can be for their ex-wife. And that may not be something that they're concerned about, obviously, but most of these men want to move on. They want to have other girlfriends. They want to have other wives or whatever. And if you really want that, then you need to work on yourself. And you need to understand, my mom says all the time, she's a pastor, even in my situations that she's aware of, my friend's situations she's aware of, no divorce is the cause of one solitary person. There's always, two sides to every story, and I definitely get that, I understand that. And as much as I want to be like, oh, my girls are completely innocent, in my mind they are, because, but I also don't know the whole story. I know what they've told me because I am their confidant. I'm not friends with these guys. But still, from what I'm seeing, whether, whatever they did while they were in the relationship, after the relationship has been deemed over, I see the work that they've put in to either save the relationship or to get through this process of divorce, but still put their children first and still make sure that everything is good. I see the work that they're putting in, and I'm not seeing the work that the men are putting in. The men are still trying to put themselves in a position of controlling these women and controlling the situation, controlling the narrative. And it's like, you could do that when we were still married and you were the head of this household. You had that role. I foolishly gave you that role, not realizing that you weren't meant to lead our family. But I still gave you that role. But we're no longer married. You are no longer in a position to control a daggone thing, to tell me what to do, to try to set the pace, to try to anything. Like, that's not your place anymore. And I have seen how these experiences have changed my friends for the better. Like, obviously, there's going to be some bitterness there for a while, there's going to be some anger there for a while, but it's definitely forced them to look at situations from a bunch of different angles and to also look within to see some of the brokenness that they probably brought to their marriage. And at least I can see that they're getting work. They're going to therapy on their own, trying to be a better person for them and for their children. Not for any man, not for any future husband. It's like, you know what? I can admit that I wasn't able to do this in the marriage, or I can admit that I did this in the marriage and that wasn't the best way to handle things. So they're at least putting in the work. These men, though, not seeing that. So yeah, it makes me feel for them. It really challenges me to have to pray for the guys, and it also helps me be very grateful for the marriage and the life that I have. And I'm not saying that my husband is amazing and great. Well, take the back. My husband is amazing and great. I'm not saying he's the best ever. We don't have the best marriage ever at all. Nobody does. Anyone says, oh my gosh, we have the best thing ever, they're lying to you because they put it on front. We don't have the best marriage ever. We do have stuff that we need to work on. We do have a lot of spaces where we need to grow, because if you think about it, just like if you have children, right? Your children grow not only in age, but they grow in maturity, they grow in their needs, they grow in their desires, and the way you parent your children changes from, that when they're 5 to when they're 14, for instance. So my children are 9 and 14. I cannot parent them the same. I have to adjust the way I parent, not just because they're different ages, but because they're two completely different people who need different things from me, right? And it's the same thing with marriage. I'm married to somebody who I've been with for 20 years, but I can't treat my husband the same way I did when we first started dating. We were, 21 and 22 when we started dating? I can't do that. This is before kids. This is before multiple job losses. This is before living together. I can't treat him the same way. I can't wife him the same way, and he can't husband me the same way, because that makes no sense. We're different people. And even from one year to the next, like, I know that I've changed in different ways, and so we've had to adjust the way we communicate with each other, the way we confide in each other, and just the way we do life together. And it's still going to be a constant change, because I've heard that marriages are severely tested when all the children leave the house, because at least you have the children there as a buffer. Now, I have some time because my youngest is 9, so I have some time before she actually leaves the house, but that's still a thing, and I think a lot of marriages suffer once that happens, because you don't have a foundation with just your spouse. Your foundation and your everything has been about the family unit and about the kids. But again, at some point, the kids go away, go at college, go away to the armed forces. They may have their own marriages at some point, and now you're in the house with this person, and you're like, I haven't spent alone time with you in years. What the heck do we talk about? And I never wanted that for me and my husband. That's why whenever possible, I was like, hey, babe, let's just have a date. Even if we don't leave the house, let's watch a movie together. You know, let's order some food and let's play some cards. When we do have a little bit of extra money, you know, let's go out to eat. Let's go get some ice cream. Let's, you know, oh, babe, there's this movie coming. Let's go watch a movie. And it doesn't have to be I know some people are able to do date night every week. I can't do that. But, you know, still just having that time, not being afraid to spend time alone with each other is really key. So, yeah, that's kind of been on my mind heavy today because some stuff happened with one of my girlfriends with her soon-to-be ex-husband. And I was like, girl, I don't know what to say. And normally I got something to say about everything, but I was like, I genuinely have nothing to say. But I'm here. I'll pray for you, with you, whatever you need me to do. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But today is a pretty light day. The one meeting I have, I'm pretty sure it's been canceled, which is amazing. And I took an Uber this morning to take my little girl to school. She was so happy that she didn't have to walk that far. The driver was incredibly nice. I pray with my daughter, and I told her to pray with her every morning before she goes to school. So while we're in the car, we started praying. He immediately turned down the radio, which he didn't have to do. He said amen after we said amen. He's like, I love that you pray with your daughter. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, I pray with my son too. Like, we are a praying household. That's what we do. And we had a great conversation. And then I left my car in the Uber, and I didn't realize I came upstairs. So I'm like, okay, how can I figure this out? And so my husband started calling my phone, which was on vibrate because I don't make good decisions all the time. I'm like, this man is not going to hear the phone. He answered the phone on the fourth ring because not coincidentally, because I'm God's favorite child. Not favorite, but a favored child. The guy, the Uber driver, ended up circling back around to my apartment complex because someone who is right underneath me called for an Uber. So he was outside my building with my phone. I was like, that ain't nothing but the Lord. That ain't nothing but God. So I was very happy about that. I also had this idea. So I was talking to my mom. Like I said, she's a pastor, and she's trying to figure out a way to be more visible, I guess, on social media. And she wants to kind of come up with a plan of like something to do outside of just like, you know, sharing her sermons. And I was telling her, like, why don't you do the 12 days of Christmas, and for 12 days leading up to Christmas, which will start tomorrow, you like do something fun, because she immediately went with the religious side. Oh, well, 12 is a number, is this in the Bible? I was like, no, you're getting too deep, not like that. For Christmas, do something fun, like maybe for 12 days it could be just a fact about the pastor. Like, did you know that your pastor was born here? Did you know your pastor has this many children? Did you know your pastor's favorite color is this? Just something silly, but something for them to get to know my mom outside of her sermons and outside of the work that she does. Get to know her as a woman, right? So I was like, oh, maybe I should do that in my vlogs. And every day starting tomorrow, my vlogs, I can just drop a fact about me. You know, something that maybe you guys don't know. Because most of the videos outside of these vlogs, most of the videos of me reviewing and recapping something. Talking about a documentary I saw, or talking about a book that I read, or, you know, doing something with my babies or something like that. So I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do that. The whole vlog won't be me talking about myself, but actually I guess all the vlogs are me talking about myself. Okay, scratch that comment. But the whole vlog won't be me talking about whatever that fact is for the day. I'll just kind of drop it in, I think, starting tomorrow. It's not going to come up with what my facts are going to be. I got time. But yeah, day's going to be a little on the slower side. I'm going to cook dinner because it's 1 o'clock, so I was going to figure out what me and my husband are going to have for lunch. Okay, but aside from that, I think I'm going to cook dinner about 4. We're having meatloaf tonight. I feel like potatoes automatically goes with meatloaf. So we have real potatoes, but I think I'm going to make some boxed potatoes au gratin. I check if we have enough milk. I think we do. But we'll have potatoes au gratin. I think we'll make green beans. I haven't made green beans in a while. We have some frozen green beans. They're frozen. They were fresh green beans when I bought them, but they're frozen now. So I think I'm going to cook them. And I like to cook my green beans in chicken broth just to give them a little more flavor. So you guys can walk with me when I cook dinner. Like I said, I'm gonna start probably about 4 o'clock. So you guys can come with me to see what seasonings I use and everything. So I am going to, I don't really have any work. I'm gonna find some work to do, and then I'll come back to you guys a little bit later. All right, it's time to get ready to cook dinner. So like I said, we are doing meatloaf. So I got my ground beef right here. Au gratin potatoes, box kind. Like I said, I'm not one of those people that makes everything from scratch. I don't got that kind of time. And some green beans that have been frozen. So the meatloaf is going to take the longest amount of time. I'm trying a new meatloaf seasoning from Kinder's, which I've never used before. So normally you can get like regular, not regular, but the meatloaf seasoning is in the section with the other spices in the grocery store. Most of the time you just pour this in, maybe add breadcrumbs, add an egg or two, and mix it all up and you're good to go. So we're gonna see. And some people like to put ketchup on their meatloaf. I don't do that. I typically will mix up spaghetti sauce and barbecue sauce. It sounds weird, but I'm gonna mix it up and put that on top after it's baked and just let it sit in the oven when I turn the oven off. So right now I'm gonna preheat the oven to 350. And while it's warming up, I'm gonna get the meat mixture ready and I'm gonna get my green beans ready. So I'll show you what I did with those. Okay, so I'm about to get the liquid ready for the green beans, and I have some water in there, but I'm also going to add chicken broth again to give us a little extra flavor. So, here. Not the whole thing because it's pretty empty actually. So maybe about a half cup in here. So the green beans are frozen, so I'm going to have to snap them and put them in here. You saw how big the bag was? I don't know if I'm going to use all of it, but at least half of the bag I'm going to put in this mixture. I'm not adding any seasoning to it. I'm going to wait until the green beans are actually cooked. Then I'll add probably just some nature seasoning. That'll probably be it. Maybe some butter. Right now the point is just to cook them and cook them down. So they're going to cook probably for at least like 30 or 40 minutes or so. So the bag, like I said, it's frozen. So literally it's just me snapping it. You probably can't hear it. It's not that sound. Let me see. Oh, you hear that? Just me snapping them in the liquid. I typically don't include these because I just feel like I should. So I'm gonna snap some more, put them in there, and then I'm gonna get started on the meatloaf mixture. Okay, the green beans are currently boiling. Green beans are cooking. Nice bright green color. They're gonna cook down for a little minute. I'm gonna start on the meatloaf mixture. I put the meat and 2 eggs into a bowl. Now I'm going to add all the seasoning. So according to the back of this, I need to add some breadcrumbs, and I will say it didn't tell me to put it in, so I may not, but something great to put in when you're making meatloaf is onion soup mix. So this is like Lipton, but yeah, onion soup mix is perfect for meatloaf, and if you're making homemade burgers, it has really great onion flavor. It's not overpowering, but it's really, really good. So I'm not gonna put it in there because it didn't ask me to, but I am gonna put in some breadcrumbs. I use Italian style breadcrumbs. I have my nature seasoning, my onion powder, my garlic powder, and smoky sweet thing spice blend from the Spice Suite. So we'll put all this in, and then comes the nasty part, massaging the meat. So let me season it up right now. Or you guys can watch me. I don't know if you care to watch me. I don't have a tripod. I told you it's me literally holding my Android, so whatever view you get is what you get. Right. So this meat mixture, I don't typically measure, but I'd say maybe about, well, again, Italian style breadcrumbs, just because this is what I have, but probably about a half a cup. I don't measure, I don't know. Okay, I can't do this with one hand, so I'm gonna put in the other seasonings and then I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like so far. You also have to add milk because once you add all the seasoning and everything and the meat isn't juicy enough raw, so you add the milk so it's not a completely dry mixture. And some people at this stage will also add some of the stuff they put on top, so like ketchup, tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, and some people add that to the mixture just to still give it that sweet flavor on the inside and outside. I'm choosing not to do that this time, but I'm going to mix this all together. And then I think I need to grease my pan and then form the actual loaf. So, be back. Alright, so this is what we're looking like. I'm supposed to put it in the oven for 40 minutes at 350. It said to put in there uncovered. I'm not comfortable with that, so I think I'm going to cover it for at least the first 30 minutes and then uncover it so I can get a little crust on it. And then I can put the ketchup or tomato sauce, barbecue sauce mixture on top. So this is what it looks like, and I'm about to cover it up and put it in the oven, and then we get started on the potatoes. Okay, so I'm making up rotten potatoes, and I decided to use both packs. And literally, see, it's just milk, butter, water, that's it. I have everything in here. I'm going to mix it together. heat to boiling, and then let it simmer for 15 minutes, and then that's it. So I always do this last because this takes the least amount of time. This is what the green beans looking like. You see they've gotten a little darker. They're not boiling because I turned the heat down. I didn't want them to cook too fast, but I might turn it up just a little teeny tiny bit. And so that's 24 minutes left of the meatloaf. And yeah, this is dinner tonight, guys. I'll show you the finished product when everything is cooked. Okay, so I'm home. The green beans are pretty much done. The potatoes are done. They're in a container. This is what the meatloaf looks like. So I cooked it for a little bit with covered up, and then I let it cook for a little bit uncovered so I can get a little brown on it. You can always have it be a little more brown if you'd like it to be. Thought I had spaghetti sauce. I do not. So I could do two things. I could search for some tomato paste and mix that with barbecue sauce. I have a feeling I don't have that either, so I think I'm just going to use barbecue sauce, honestly. That's my preference anyway. So I'm going to put some barbecue sauce, pour it right on top, and then use one of those little brushes to brush it on, and then I'll probably bake it for maybe like 5 more minutes just so the barbecue sauce settle. And that'll be that. It's 5:24. My babies will eat probably in the next 10 to 20 minutes, and yeah, dinner for the week is served. Not for the week, but the day is served. The meatloaf is a great weeknight meal because it literally is just a hunk of meat. And so you can get the meatloaf seasoning already done, and all you're doing is adding some milk, some eggs, and some breadcrumbs. So very easy dish to make during the week. This is the final product: some cheesy au gratin potatoes, meatloaf, green beans, and to top it off, you can never go wrong with a sweet Hawaiian roll, and dinner is served for the babies.